Alright guys, it is cold and windy outside. I was planning on pushing the Regal out here in the driveway and doing the body work on it, so I didn't get any sanding dust in the garage, but that ain't gonna happen. So I ended up doing little tidbits today that basically had the garage door down and I stayed in the warmth in here. Anyway, if you're seeing that, looks like no big deal to most, and although it kind of is, that is all upgraded stuff there for the car. Now this 80 Regal would have had a bumper jack originally, and I have upgraded it to the later model G-body chassis jack. So I used all the factory hardware, but I welded the studs to the body. And so now the bumper jack does bolt in with the factory hardware. I do have the factory lug wrench for the Grand National lug nuts. So that's pretty sweet. And it does have the little steel bracket on the lug wrench that bolts it to the jack, so that's all in and correct. Also, this is the larger space saver spare. This would have been for a 15-inch wheeled G-body. And it's mainly, in theory, I guess, they had the little bitty donuts for 14-inch wheels. If the car originally had 14s, and they had this bigger donut for the 15-inch wheels. If you had a flat with on the rear with your positraction and you put your donut on, you wanted that donut to be the same diameter as your wheel you took off. That way it doesn't tear up your positraction thinking that it's spinning on one side. So anyway, this is the larger space saver for the Grand National wheels basically. So anyway, that's pretty cool. Everything's in, bolted down, and done. So, I'm going to use this car as a daily driver, and you got to have a jack spare and lug wrench in my opinion. So anyway, that's all done. Now, the other thing is I had to pull the back glass out of the car. It was not sealed in about an 8 or 10 inch area over here on this side, so I had to pull it to basically reseal it. So I've just decided that this car did not originally have a rear defogger, so I have decided to upgrade it to a rear defog back window. I have one found at a salvage I frequent. I called and talked to the guy who wants $40, but I have to pull it, which is no big deal. But I do get the wiring harness and switch with it. The bad thing is the last time I was there and I looked at this car, it's pretty much stripped out body. I don't think the dash is on the car. So I'm not going to have the switch. So I will get the wire harness and stuff, but I'll have to, get a switch off of eBay or something. Anyway, so if you're seeing that third brake light there, that is parts and pieces from many third brake lights. I have a box of them in my attic. Anyway, some of them, if they had broken tabs or they were cracked or whatever, I just basically took all good pieces and made one. Now I will have to interior trim paint it so it's not red and blue basically. But anyway, I did have the harness for this. That harness for these third brake lights, in case you're wanting to put one in your older car, the harness plugs into your taillight harness back here, but the older cars don't have the provision where that actually plugs in. So you have to basically hardwire it. So with that being said, you have two wires on it. You have a blue wire and a black wire. The black wire, just crimp an eyelet on it and use like a self driller and screw it directly to the body somewhere. And the blue one, I extended mine with another piece of a blue wire that's the same gauge and everything, and just about the same color blue. I run it down the rocker right up under the dash and went straight to the brake light switch. Your brake light switch, one side is full-time power, the other side only has power when you push down the brake pedal, and that's the one you want to hook to. I basically just crimped a T-tap over the wire and plugged it in with a spade. So anyway, my third brake light works. Now, a long time ago, a buddy of mine, I think he had an 81 or 82 Regal, didn't have a third brake light, so he put one in it, and he wired it to his wires back here, to a brake light power wire. So when he did that, when he turned his turn signal switch on one side, I don't remember which side it was, but the third brake light flashed with it. So if you don't want it to flash, basically what I did was just run a wire straight to the brake switch. So anyway, so I'll have to go get that back window sometime this week. I'm not sure what day it's going to be, so I'll have to go get it. And anyway, so I'll have a third brake light and a rear defogger back window in the car, and I think that's pretty cool to have it all upgraded. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Not much of an update, but it is what it is, and that's all you get.